Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
The House of Representatives is making arrangements for a 170 billion naira fund for the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU in the 2023 budget. Speaker of the House, Gbajabiamila, in a statement on Monday, said the move will provide a level of increment in the welfare package of university lecturers. According to him, efforts were ongoing to find lasting solutions to all the issues raised by ASUU. He stated that the budget included an additional 300 billion naira revitalization fund to improve the infrastructure and operations of the federal universities. He, however, acknowledged that the position taken by the federal government that it was not obligated to pay salaries to lecturers for the time spent on strike is premised on the law and the government's legitimate interest in preventing moral hazard and discouraging disruptive industrial actions. In the meantime, the National Executive Council of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, yesterday reportedly commenced its meeting. The ASUU had earlier summoned an emergency NEC meeting following the payment of half salaries to lecturers by the government. The union had described the October 2022 salaries as amputated and insensitive. Justifying the government's decision, the Labour Minister, Chris Ngige, noted that the government paid the lecturers pro rata, meaning that they were only paid for work they did. However, human rights lawyer Femi Falana, who happens to be the lead counsel to ASUU, in a statement, argued that no work, no pay policy could not be applicable to the union. The federal government has assured that train services on the Abuja-Kaduna rail line will resume in November. The Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, who made this known while giving the scorecard of his ministry in Abuja, said adequate security has been put in place to ensure the safety of passengers, but did not give any specific date for the resumption.
The Abuja-Kaduna mishap was indeed a very sad one, and by the grace of God, we shall not witness anything like that again. Not only because we have committed that to prayer, but we have also deliberately taking steps. Like you said, yes, indeed, lessons have been learned, and these lessons will be put into place. What are the lessons? Safety and security, surveillance, constant monitoring, 24/7, 7 days a week, 12 months a year, all round clock. The minister should be able to sit in his office and look at the rail corridor and see what is happening there. This month of November, we shall resume that service.
The Nigerian Railway Corporation suspended train service along the route after terrorists attacked a moving passenger train in Kaduna on March 28, 2022, killing several and abducting scores of passengers. Also speaking, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, condemned the PDP for peddling absurdity that President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has no achievements to campaign with for the forthcoming 2023 polls. The Information Minister stated that the Buhari administration is spoiled for choice in celebrating its achievements, arguing that the Naira exchange rate and inflation were insufficient indices to write off Buhari's performance.
It is a cold irony that the party that presided over the affairs of this great country in a time of plenty but could not complete a single modern rail line is the one accusing an administration that has completed at least 3 standard gauge rail lines of lacking achievement. We have completed the Abuja-Kaduna, the Lagos-Ibadan, and the Itakpe-Warri standard gauge rail lines. We have commissioned brand new airport terminals in Abuja, Lagos, and Port Harcourt. We have completed housing projects in 35 states of the federation. We have constructed road projects in every state.
The Central Criminal Court in London, the United Kingdom, has moved the trial of former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu over alleged organ harvesting from May 2023 to January 31, 2023. The Old Bailey agreed that arguments will be heard on the 16th or 19th of December 2022 before the commencement of the trial in January. Ekurimadu and his wife Beatrice were arrested on June 23 and charged with conspiracy to trafficking a person for organ harvesting in violation of the Modern Slavery Act 2015. Though he was absent from court on Monday, his wife, who was released on bail in July, and Sonia, the couple's daughter, were present. The Chief Justice of the Federation, CJN Justice Olukayode Ariwola, has sworn in members of the Election Petition Tribunal for the 2023 general elections. The event took place on Monday at the National Judicial Institute (NJI) in Abuja, the country's political capital. Having administered the oath of office on the members of the tribunal, the CJN urged the judicial officers not to treat the assignments with levity, warning that he will not tolerate any form of judicial recklessness. The exercise kicked off a 4-day capacity workshop for the justices and members of the tribunal to end on Thursday. One of the spokespersons for Tinubu Shettima Presidential Campaign Council, Festus Keyamo, has said that the hectic campaign schedule of APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu will not permit him to attend debates. Keyamo, in a statement, said Tinubu did not attend a presidential debate on Sunday because he has received a lot of invitations by television and radio stations, and he would not want to be unfair to any of the broadcast houses. Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party were absent at the debate on Sunday, attended by Peter Obi of the Labour Party, Rabiu Kwakwanso of the New Nigeria People's Party, and Kola Abiola of the People's Redemption Party. Although Delta State Governor and PDP Vice Presidential candidate Ifeanyi Okowa represented Atiku, Tinubu and his running mate Kashim Shettima were absent. Meanwhile, the Director General of the Obi Dati Campaign Organization, Doyin Okukpe, says the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, will no longer show up for debates if his counterparts in other parties do not show up. Okukpe, at a press conference in Abuja on Monday, also said Obi will no longer debate with surrogates or running mates and will back out of any debate even at the last minute should other presidential candidates fail to show up. Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doye Diri has presented a 385.2 billion naira appropriation bill for the 2023 fiscal year to the House of Assembly for consideration. Presenting the proposal tagged Budget of Sustainable Growth and Reconstruction at the Assembly, Senator Diri said it was hinged on a 6-pronged agenda, which includes continuous building of infrastructure and reconstruction of such infrastructure which had been severely degraded by the floods. He also said the civil service would be made more professional, as well as the transformation of the agricultural sector to be an essential contributor to the state's economy. The Nigerian military says 2 leading officials from the militant group Islamic State West Africa Province, ISWAP, have been killed in airstrikes in the northeast of the country. Local media have named Ali Kwaya and Bukar Mainoka as the 2 commanders killed, saying they were senior members of the extremist group's Shura Council. Additional airstrikes hit vehicles attempting to carry around a dozen injured jihadists to a hideout. The operation follows new US and British security warnings of impending militant attacks in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. The Kano State Magistrate Court on Monday ordered 20 lashes each to be administered on 2 Kano State-based stand-up comedians, Mubarak Mohammed and Nasivi Bala, for defaming the character of Kano State Governor Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje on their TikTok accounts. Magistrate Aminu Gabari, in his ruling, also ordered the duo to sweep and wash the toilets on the premises of the Magistrate Court, located at No Man's Land area of Kano Metropolis, for 30 days. The magistrate consequently ordered the convict to pay a fine of 10,000 naira each for defaming the character of Governor Ganduje. After a careful study of the Nigerian market, world's leading technology company Apple Inc. has appointed TD Africa the first authorized indigenous distributor of the company's products in Nigeria. The landmark development, which is regarded as a demonstration of faith in Nigeria, will see TD Africa add Apple to an impressive list of globally renowned original equipment manufacturers (OEMs) on its portfolio. Top executives of Apple Inc. were present at the headquarters of TD Africa in Victoria Island, Lagos, recently to seal the partnership deal. Also commenting on the partnership, Managing Director Sales TD Africa, Mrs. Gozi Ijogo, revealed that the development would undoubtedly signal huge value for the consumption of genuine Apple products in Nigeria. You're still listening to the World News. Moving on to the foreign scene. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has told the UN Climate Summit COP27 that the war in Ukraine is a reason to act faster to tackle climate change. In his first international appearance since taking office, he noted that climate and energy security go hand in hand. Leaders from 120 countries are meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, to discuss next steps in curbing climate change. Key topics are compensation and support for the most affected countries. In a series of speeches, leaders urged rich countries to stay the course in stopping further climate change despite the war in Ukraine and global financial problems. A meeting between the Ethiopian Army Chief and the commander of the rebel Tigray's People Liberation Front (TPLF) has begun in the Kenyan capital of Nairobi. The talks will focus on the disarmament of the rebel forces following the peace deal signed in Pretoria, South Africa last week. The talks kicked off on Monday, led by the African Union's envoy to the Horn of Africa, former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, and former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. The meeting, which has been scheduled for 3 days, will discuss modalities of disarming rebel forces and provide a roadmap for humanitarian access and restoration of services in the Tigray region. According to the peace agreement, this armament should be completed 2 weeks after the meeting of the senior commanders. The 2-year conflict has claimed many lives and displaced millions. In business news this morning, the Debt Management Office (DMO) has announced the offering of 2 federal government of Nigeria FGN saving bonds for subscription at 1,000 naira per unit. A statement by the DMO via its website read that the first offer is a 2-year FGN savings bond due in November 16, 2024 at interest rate of 12.492% per annum, while the second offer is a 3-year FGN savings bond due in November 16, 2025 at 13.492% interest rate per annum. It added that the savings bonds were backed by the full faith and credit of the federal government and charged upon the general assets of Nigeria. Finally, in sport news, Nigeria's Bayelsa Queens will play against Far Rabat next week in the semi-final encounter. The Nigerian team progressed to the semi-final stage of the CAF Women's Champions League for the first time following Sunday night's 3-0 victory over Egyptian champions Wadi Degla. Juliet Sunday's first-half goal and Mercy Itimi's second-half brace ensured the progress of the Prosperity Girls to the semi-final stage. Elsewhere, Mamelodi Sundowns defeated 10-woman TP Mazembe 4-0 to progress to the next round of the Champions League. Liverpool will face Real Madrid in the Champions League last 16 tie in a repeat of the 2022 final, while Chelsea were drawn against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League draw held on Monday. In other draws, Tottenham were drawn against AC Milan. Manchester City face a tie against RB Leipzig. PSG have been drawn against Bayern Munich in another standout last 16 tie. Club Brugge play Benfica. Eintracht Frankfurt take on Italian Serie A leaders Napoli, while Inter Milan has been paired against FC Porto. Meanwhile, Manchester United will face Barcelona in the Europa League playoff in February, while Jose Mourinho's Roma will take on RB Salzburg. Fellow Serie A side Juventus will take on Nantes. Sevilla, 6-time winners of the Europa League, will face PSV Eindhoven, and Ajax will take on Bundesliga side Union Berlin.
Lagos Talks
91.3.